Now, can you see?
There.
Perfect. All right.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
all right. So let's talk
Now,
about
mute me
HUD
again to
deals
shut
and
me
what
out.
they are and how you can work them to do more real estate deals in your business. I'm going to kind of show you the ins and outs. Like I mentioned, have done over 100 back when the market dipped and we saw more foreclosures, which sooner or later will be here again because real estate is cyclical. Then you'll be ready for it. So, all right. So what is a government foreclosure? And these are homes taken back by a government agency that guaranteed the loan. So we've got a couple here. Secretary of Housing and Urban Development is the one we're going to focus on today. You also have Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and here's their websites, HomePath and Homesteps.com. Your VA foreclosures are here at this site, and then USDA, which is Department of Rural Housing. So these are all of the government agency backed loans that have come back to them and they're needing to get rid of them. Why are government owned properties attractive to smart investors? The offer process is quick and simple, all online. I really like that about HUD Homes, and I'll show you their site here at some point in the presentation. The database of homes is available to everyone, and there are strategies to learn to give you an advantage. So we'll talk about those things. Only after your offer is accepted do you have to do the paperwork, which, you know, paperwork can be a pain in the butt, especially on foreclosures. The paperwork's typically more lengthy than, you know, just a couple page contract that we would write up with the seller. So you can also set alerts to notify you about new properties that come up. So here's the website, and this is just a screenshot of it. It's HUD, H-U-D, home, H-O-M-E, store.com. And the site is going to look like this. Let me see if we're going to hop into it. Here are some best practices. You should use the site daily. HUD reviews offers each business day at midnight Central Standard Time, and the new properties or back on market come out daily. The information on HUDhomestore.com is the most accurate. A lot of times agents will be busy and that may show pending in the MLS. If the paperwork was wrong when it was sent in and they give them one chance to correct it, and if anything is wrong again, that property comes back up for sale on HUD Home Store. A lot of times the agents are busy and don't get it marked back active in the MLS. So the most accurate place is HUD Home Store website itself. When you're looking at their site, you're going to see, you can search by state and county, or you can just put in state and it will show you everything. This is old. This is from when I made this presentation. It looks like in 2018. So these aren't current properties, although they're probably all good deals right now. And when you search the state and county, if the property shows up, then it is available. As soon as it has an accepted offer, it will disappear from the website. And so if an accepted offer is put in the night before, usually they disappear early afternoon between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. So you may find something at 10 a.m. that sold the night before, but it's very quickly will come off. Here you can see all of the information on the properties. When you click the property case number, it takes you to some additional files. We'll look at that in a minute. But on the main screen, you'll see the price. It will show you whether it's been reduced, whether it's a new one. This listing period over here, extended, is what we're looking for. Extended means that investors can make an offer on the property. Most properties come out exclusive at first, and exclusive means it's reserved for owner occupants. or people that intend to live in the property at least 12 months after purchase. So we're looking for extended and keeping our eye on those. It'll give you the bid open date, which is the day they're going to check the offers, and they are literally looking for the highest net to the seller, period. Doesn't matter if it's financed, cash. If the financed offer nets a penny more than the cash, they're going to take it. Crazy, huh? All right, let's see. The different listing periods, which is what I was telling you about right here, listing period. There's 3 listing periods. The lottery period, which is typically reserved for government agencies, and it's typically houses that are in rougher areas. So we don't pay a whole lot of attention to that, and we don't see very many of them. The exclusive listing period for owner occupants and extended for investors. This says a little bit about the lottery period. These properties are available for purchase by Good Neighbor Next Door, nonprofit organizations, and government entities. When the lottery period ends, they go straight into exclusive listing period, meaning open for all owner occupants. When you click on the case number that we had talked about and get more information on the property, it brings you to a page like this. So you can see the photos of the property. It's got the details, housing type, year built, HOA fees, the list date, open to investors here, right? And then you can also see a bit of information about the condition of the property. So this says FHA financing uninsured. This will either say insured, which means it needs 0 repairs, and that's rare. It'll say insured with escrow, meaning they're going to want to do a holdback of X number of dollars for repairs, or uninsured, meaning it needs more than $5,000 worth of work. So typically as investors, we get a better price on properties that need more work. So a lot of times that's what you'll see. And as mentioned, offers are due daily at midnight Central Time. Here on the addendums, I think I dig into it a little further. Here it is, insurable, meets FHA requirements, insurable with escrow. I guess I had a slide was telling you about it before clicking to it, and uninsured. So that's what we just talked about on the financing codes. There's also some disclosures on the tabs. If it's in a flood zone, it will let you know that. It also will tell you if it's connected to a septic system or a well. So it's got details that sometimes you don't get with other foreclosures. So these are just some of the details. This is telling us why that property is uninsurable. It's uninsurable because it's a manufactured home and it's in a special flood hazard area where flood insurance is recommended. The HVAC needs repair. Property has storm damage. There's evidence of a roof leak and water damage ceiling. So they really do a pretty good job. I would still recommend doing your own home inspection on any property you're going to buy, but you really can get a good idea of what kind of work the property needs without having to wait for a full-on home inspection. Not saying they catch everything, but they've got pretty good inspections. Pretty cool, huh? They also put it in a spreadsheet so you can look at it quickly. So they're saying that they have checked these items. Heat and air, like they said, not functional, system incomplete. Electrical wiring, it looks like it worked. They check the appliances, the plumbing. The plumbing they check with, excuse me, a pressure test. This means they close all the valves in the house and pump air into the line and see if it holds that air pressure. That would indicate there's not a leak. Sometimes it will say not passed, and I have found out that they just have not turned off one of the valves, usually at the washing machine. So sometimes plumbing will say pressure test failed, and it really won't be an issue, but that's hard to know until you get in there. They check the water heater. And typically in the winter, they put antifreeze in the drains and make sure that everything's winterized. Roof visually passed. So pretty cool to get all that free information. Once you make offers, you'll also be able to log in and see what the winning offer was for the property. So you can search accepted offers and put in your county and see what other people are getting them for. So let's just do that real quick and see if there's any investors buying in Arizona. And Ron, are you Arizona also? I can't remember. So we click bid results.
No, I'm in Louisiana.
Oh, let's look at Louisiana too. So bid results, we're just seeing if investors are getting deals here. So right now for Arizona, and it only stays on here about 2 weeks, we can see that owner occupant on the three, those are both near you, Pima and Cochise County. So we can see that their offer netted this amount. They were owner occupants. This was the date the offer was submitted, the date it was accepted. And this is the broker that represented the buyer, the broker company. So right now, Arizona's still tough. You will see this open up. Let's see if Louisiana looks like investors are able to find deals on here yet. It's coming and it will be here. Oh, GK. Oh. All right, so we got a little more action in Louisiana. Most of them are owner occupant, but I can see that there's some investors able to pick up a couple properties in your state. So investor, so you might be ready to start looking because somebody's getting some deals. And you can actually see what it netted. When it says net to HUD, that's after real estate commissions. They're looking at the gross purchase price minus any seller paid closing cost and minus any commissions. So, all right. You do have to have a real estate agent, licensed agent, whose broker and himself or herself are registered with HUD to be able to submit offers on HUD houses. Once you start submitting offers, if you submit lots of offers, even if they're low, a lot of times you'll start seeing a pattern in the counter offers. I need to go in and start making more offers because sometimes those percentages change. But it used to be that on a brand new listing, HUD would accept 85% of the initial list price, 85% net. And so once you back the real estate agent commissions back in there, it ended up being about 91%. So I knew right off the bat, if something was listed for 200,000, that they would take 180. And when you submit offers and they're somewhat close, and I say somewhat very loosely, they will send back, hey, we did not accept your offer for X price, we'll take Y price. If you'll keep those numbers in a spreadsheet, you'll start to see a pattern that, hey, they're trying to get 92% for properties in Louisiana when it's a new listing, and it will be the same every time. 92%, 92%, and that is stayed the same for a couple years at a time. Once in a while, they go through and revamp when the market's changed or the market's, either slower or gets exceptionally busy, and that may adjust. But for the most part, once you figure out the percentage for your area, it stays the same. So you've got a huge advantage to somebody who has not put
Well,
in.
how do you do that again? You said they take 92%. How do you figure it? Is it 92%?
You're going to have to make lots of offers. So you're going to have to look at in Louisiana and get an agent on your side.
I have a license myself. I haven't been using it much, but I have a license.
Okay, good. This is amazing then. I do too. And so it makes it super easy to figure this part out. You're just going to go in and start submitting offers, even if they're low on these properties. and you're going to make note of the list date, the asking price, and what they said they'll accept. Because you'll see a pattern. It'll say list price 200,000, they'll accept 180. So then you know that they are accepting offers at 90% of the list price when it's a new listing. And they typically adjust every 30 to 45 days what they'll take on the property. So you'll just want to I made a spreadsheet. That's how I figured out the numbers in the market I was in. Here's the list price. Here's what they said they'll take. And here's how long it's been listed. And so after you put in 10 different offers, you'll see, okay, all of these are 90% and all of these are 80. All these that have been listed longer, 82%. So I know on a brand new listing, they're going to take 10% less. And if it's been listed a longer amount of time, then they're likely to take 82% of that original list price. You just got to kind of track it, and it takes just a couple, I would say a week of putting in offers. You can put in an offer every bid period. I got in the habit of putting them in every night, or at least a couple times a week, even on the same property. They will not change what they'll take within that first 30 days, but sometimes after that first 30 days, they will take the lesser offer. So
after the first 30, you put in an offer in the first 30 days, and after that 30 days, you can put in houses every week, maybe?
I do, yep. And sometimes 3 times a week, because I want to get it before anyone else gets it.
Okay.
It's a computer that's answering you on the HUD side. HUD uses a net percentage of original list price when considering your offers. It is different for every market. Make offers today and track on a spreadsheet to determine the threshold for your market. Offer daily or at least multiple times per week, and you've got to be or use a licensed agent to submit offers.
Okay.
All right, how negotiable
Now,
is the price?
as an agent,
Yeah.
sometimes do you take the pay commission as your agent if you submit it off as an agent?
You can, as the buyer's agent, you can dictate whether you want 0% to 3%. It's up to you, and they let you decide that. And it's that they're looking at the net number. So if somebody offered 100,000 and has to pay their agent 3%, you know, and you're putting an offer in for 100,000 and only taking a 1% commission, you're going to get it. You're going to get it if you're a penny more, because it's literally a computer asking. I have won a house for $25 more than the next person. Back in the day, in the bid results, you could see everybody's bid and exactly how much it was. They don't do that anymore, but when they did, I had beat somebody out by $25 on a house, which is unheard of.
So basically what you can do as an agent, just put your less commission, and you probably might be the win the bid.
Yep.
So the commission is what, 3%? 3%?
They'll let you put in anywhere from 0 to 3.
Right. So you can put it, okay, so you can just adjust your commission down and try and might win the bid that way. Okay.
Yep, exactly. All right. More days on market equals more negotiable. Let me pull this back over just so I can tell you. Sometimes the days on market can be hard to see. Let me let the other screen go. Let's see, did I lose it? So, let's see if I can show you this real quick. I don't know. So here, let's just go, say we want to see how long this is showing, let's see. This one's showing reduced. So we're wanting to say, how long has this one been on the market? It's saying 12, 29, 20. That's a cute house too. One way to verify that, I like to use Zillow just to see how long Zillow says it's been up. So you can also hop on Zillow. Let's see how many reductions they've had. See, this one's not really even in bad shape. Did I lose the price history? I'm looking for the price history tab over here. It's strange. It didn't show like it's supposed to. Weird. Let me pick a different one. I don't like the way that it's addressed in there. Sometimes the look can be weird. Shopping. Any more that have that reduced? I was trying to find one. Let's try this one. Dun, 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 dun. All right. So here we can see that this house initially looks like it listed with HUD 122920, which is about what it said. I think it was correct on here. And they price dropped it 10% from the 160 to 144 on February 15th. It looks like it went pending and the deal fell through. So somebody either didn't get their paperwork right, they couldn't get their financing together, something. And they were not able to close it, and it came back up for sale just a couple of days ago. So this one might be one to check out, actually, because it has one reduction and they're likely going to come off this price considerably. And it doesn't look too bad. I kind of like it. All right. Don't we wish 144,000 would buy that here? Yeah.
Y'all got a pretty good
Oh,
expensive market.
Right.
Yeah, it is a pretty expensive. Yeah, I don't think you can buy anything for 144.
So what are your prices range about?
Here, right? If you want to be in Tempe or on the East Valley side of Phoenix, you're honestly looking at close to 300,000. There's some that need work that are in the mid 250 range, but you don't find very many. Most of the investors pick them up and keep them as rentals. So, all right, so we just did this. Their negotiability depends on the amount of price reductions, and I showed you how to look on Zillow and see how many reductions it's had. Here's the information you will need to submit your offer electronically. So you can do it in an LLC or your personal name. This is your federal ID or employer identification number or social, address, phone, the offer type, which they don't care. It doesn't make them pick one over the other, thank goodness, because everyone else it does. And then your offer amount. Okay, so if they don't take your offer, they don't technically make a counter offer. When they come back and say, we don't like your 160, we'll take 180. They are not making you a counter offer because you cannot click accept and the deal be done. They literally make you resubmit your offer. And if somebody else resubmits also and resubmits for more, you will not get the property. So they don't make a counter offer in the way that we are used to counter offers, being that we can accept them and the deal's done. They're just going to tell you what they would take, and you have to resubmit and see if they accept it. It's received by email to the agent. It's not a traditional counter offer. It will go to all bidders that are within the range. So if there's 10 people that submit an offer and all 10 are too low, they are going to send that bid counter to all 10 people. So what that means to me is to always offer them at least a couple $100 more than the minimum they'll take, because all 10 of those people at that point know the bottom line, right? All right, when they give you that net to HUD, they're not figuring in the commission. So you're going to have to back the commission out and make sure they're netting the amount they ask for. They're going to say, oh, we want 160,000 net, and you literally have to do the math based on whatever commission is coming out of it and make sure they net that amount. So.
And I said again, you said when
What?
offer them a couple of $100 more, and that's on the counter, a couple of
I
$100 more
would.
than they.
Because if there's 10 people that make an offer on a house and all of you are too low, or well, even 2 people, if there's 2 of you, if you and Rita both put in an offer and both of you were too low, you
Right.
both are going to get an email back from HUD saying your offer was too low, but we will take 181,000.
Okay.
And they send it to both of you. Whereas in real estate, in real life, we don't make counters to more than one buyer. So it's a little bit tricky because both people know what HUD will take and you both can put your offer in. So I like to make them net, 181,300 or 181,500, something a little bit more, only because everybody would know what that net number is at that point. I try not to make it exactly the exact penny that they have sent it back to me, because they send that bid counter to everybody and everybody knows that net number.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, thanks. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So when they give you the net number, they are not considering the commissions in there. You have to actually kind of back them out yourself. So if they say, I'll take 180 and you put the purchase price in as 180, and then the commissions, you're still not going to have a high enough net, I guess is what I'm saying.
Right.
You're going to
Right.
have to add the commissions to the 180,
Okay.
and
Sounds
work
good.
it from there.
Sounds good.
Just a little bit tricky, and they probably could have done it a little easier, but once you figure out the nuances, then you're good.
Okay.
All
Now
right.
you had mentioned something earlier. I don't want to get too far before I forget. You had said something when you was evaluating the property. You said there was a ask price, a list price, and a what they were all set. Now, what are you saying? When the property comes out, they listed at one price, and then you have
Yep.
an ask price, and then I'm losing. I got lost there some kind of way.
Was it in a slide? You have a list price, and then there's a reduced price. That they reduce it. So when we were looking on, I think I was just showing you this, that we can see the original list price. And then typically they reduce it 10% at a time. It's a little different in Arizona, but this was the original list price. And when the property didn't sell, they reduced it by 10%. But they will, what I was trying to say is that they still will take considerably less for the property. But you won't know that until you put some offers in on properties in your market and see what they counter. So on your spreadsheet, you would put the property address, and then you'd make a column for original list price and what they would take. And then once it reduces, you would say reduced 10%, and you'll see a pattern here. There'll always be 10% in that market on the first drop. And after it's reduced, it might be that they'll take 75% of this number.
Mm-hmm.
So, or 70%. It was 72% in my old market after they dropped it one time. So you just have to, so 72% of 160, this is what I'm trying to say on this, and I might go into it, times 72 is 115,000. Well, 115 is way different than 144. So in my old market, when it started here and they reduced it one time, it meant for me that they would take 115,000 on this property net. But the only way you're going to figure it out is to put in a bunch of offers and see where they come back for your market. If you do get an offer accepted, yeah, go ahead.
Put a lot of offers in it, then you kind of evaluate.
Yes. Yeah, even if you put in 20 offers, it's not gonna hurt anything. And here's the thing, if they do accept one of yours and you weren't expecting it and it's not a good deal, you just don't turn in your paperwork to buy it, and it just won't ever be executed. It doesn't give you a bad mark. It doesn't, nobody calls you and gets mad. I mean, just, hey, it ended up not being one we were able to move forward with. They cancel it for you and it's not a huge deal, especially if you're the agent. You're not really making your agent upset. So
Right.
the acceptance is received. Go ahead.
I have a question real quick.
Yeah.
Right here on this page, I want to understand the last, don't counter with a counter. Do you put in a new offer?
Yes.
Brand new offer?
You put in
at
a
this
new
point?
offer. If it's, when I say don't counter with a counter, the price that they're giving you, and it's something I've had to teach owner occupants that are trying to buy these houses. If they're saying, hey, I'll take 115, and somebody's just liking to negotiate, saying, well, I'll give them 113, and they're just doing it for the game of it because they want to have the last word, they're not going to get the house. It's literally, if you come in $1 below what they said, you're going to get the same counter saying, nope, we asked for 115, 100, and you offered 115. No, we will take an offer at 115, 100. And it stays like that until they do the price drop.
Okay, so there is a price on there and on their counter.
Yes.
And so you could just sign, you accept.
You cannot. You have to resubmit. And that's why you're running the risk of somebody else getting it.
And when you
Because
resubmit, it just recognizes you because of your social security and all that, whatever.
You have to go in and resubmit all
Or
the
it
way.
doesn't know who you are. It doesn't care.
Right. It doesn't.
Okay. It's just letting you're just knowing the numbers and you're like a new person.
Yep.
Submitting
Exactly.
with all the knowledge.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So it's frustrating for people that are like, well, I got a counter and I accepted their counter. I have to be careful when it's an owner occupant and say it doesn't work like a counter with a regular seller where they write a counter and you say you accept it and it's a done deal. Somebody could still sneak in there tonight, put in a higher offer. Our offer could be enough to make them happy, but if another one comes in for more, you may still lose the property.
So it's, you're going to submit a whole new offer.
A whole new offer, but it's really quick. It's like a
right?
3-minute process once you get good at it.
Yeah.
Literally just the information that I gave you is how the offer goes in. As soon as you can type this in, Alice Adams, social, address, phone, offer type, offer amount, and hit enter, the offer's in. You don't have to write it. It's all electronic. So it's super quick. All right, if your offer is accepted, there's 2 business days to sign paperwork and submit earnest money. 2 business days. If you don't get it in, they will cancel your offer. If you are missing a piece of your paperwork, it's better to send it and be short your proof of funds or your pre-approval letter, and they'll give you another 24 hours to get that in once they receive the first paperwork. But you have to get the initial package of paperwork in within 2 days or they will cancel. If you're buying under the name of an LLC, they are going to ask for your SS4, which is where you were assigned your federal employer identification number, and your articles of incorporation, which state who can sign on behalf of the company, and a copy of your driver's license. This goes with the paperwork. They will send you details on how they want the pre-approval or proof of funds letter written, but it is pretty specific. That's why I'm saying if this is taking a minute to get back, send everything else. And here is the amount of time they allow for closings. If you are a cash buyer, you have 30 days from, not from the date your offer is accepted, but from the date when you fill out your paperwork and overnight it to them or send it in. The 30 days starts once they sign that they have accepted the paperwork. So it's actually ends up being 35 or 36 days because the initial signatures take a little bit of time. If you're getting a loan, it's 45 days. The first 15-day extension is paperwork and it's free. After that, you do have to buy your extensions. And I think they'll give you at least one paid for. Sometimes if you can explain it well enough, they'll grant a second one.
So you overnight it. It's a special overnight delivery or something.
They might have changed it. Somebody told me that they're able to do some of it electronically in some states, but when I was doing it, everything had to be FedEx.
So at the FedEx overnight.
Mm-hmm. 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about the post office? The post office have overnight too as well, right?
They do. What was my issue? They will. I think that FedEx was about $20 and the post office was 35.
So the post office was more?
I think that it was. I can't remember why I had chosen to go with FedEx. I never ever took it to the post office, but it may just be that FedEx was open late. There was a FedEx open till 10 p.m. and that may be. I always just got in the habit of FedEx though, but it might have been no reason. I can't say I ever overnighted with USPS, but you can do either. As long as they get it, it doesn't matter.
Okay, but it has to be overnight. Yeah, because they got to get that within
Yep.
2 days, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, or they just cancel it. And I've had that happen before. I missed FedEx and they literally just cancel you and it's sad. All right, 2 business days to sign paperwork and submit earnest money. But if you submit a bid on Thursday or Friday, then the weekend does not count against you. You'll have more days to check out the property and more days to evaluate your potential buyer's interest before submitting earnest money. So if you submit bids on on Wednesday for acceptance on Thursday or Thursday with acceptance on Friday, you're buying yourself the weekend to get that property out. I wouldn't say market it openly because it's not technically binding by you yet, but if you've got buyers that you work closely with and have a relationship with, you may be able to put it in front of them. Does that make sense?
So if you submit it on the, so which, say it again?
This is submit on Wednesday or Thursday because you have business days, the weekends don't count against you. So if you submit it on Wednesday, your offer would be accepted on a Thursday and you would still have the weekend to show that property. So.
Okay, so because if you put it on a Wednesday, you got 2 days. I mean, 2 days to for them to accept it.
Mm-hmm. 2 days for you to get paperwork and earnest money sent out. So
Right. So you got to be there by Monday. It'll be there by Monday.
Yes, and then you can get the extension on the earnest money. There's a whole game to this. If you send your paperwork without the earnest money, you're fine. They're going to say, hey, send the earnest money and you're going to have to overnight it. But in some cases, when you're trying to buy time to get properties looked at, you can do it that way. Once you send your earnest money, and we'll go into this in a second, you will not get your earnest money back as an investor with HUD if you do not close. You will not get it back, not for anything. So I try to play the system and get these offers accepted late in the week and send my paperwork. You know, sometimes if I'm unsure about the property, but I haven't even gone inside of it yet, send the paperwork and send the earnest money, you know, once they ask for it. It'll take them a day or two to review your paperwork. Then they'll send you a notice saying everything's here, but you forgot the earnest money. So.
Okay, if I heard you correctly, if you sent it in like on let's say a Thursday, they got till what, maybe Monday to accept it?
If you put your bid in, you're going to get an answer the next day in most cases. And then you've got
so the next day will be, if you put it on Thursday, the next day will be a Friday, right?
Yep. And so if they said on Friday, you got this, you win, we accepted your bid, here's the file, fill out the paperwork, you have until Tuesday at the close of business to make sure they have those docs. which means that you have all weekend to show your buyer and until late on Monday to FedEx or send it off. So you've bought yourself Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
So you leave the deposit out on mistake, by accident, on purpose, or basically.
Yes.
So
Yep.
so then you got a couple more days to send the deposit in. If they
Yep.
tell you Tuesday that you got the bid, right?
Yep. Yeah, they're gonna tell you Friday. So if they tell
Friday.
you on Friday, you got it. Yes. And then you're gonna send it. They're gonna get all your paperwork on Tuesday. It's gonna take them a day to look through it.
Right.
And Wednesday, they're gonna send you something saying, you didn't send earnest money. We need to have that within 48 hours. You then typically have another 48 hours to get that earnest money
So you
turned in.
overnight to them. Then you got 2 more days. Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, so you can kind of spread out that process a little bit. All right. And we talked about this, even more days by leaving something out. You can't leave something out more than once. So you can't leave out your pre-approval and your earnest money and then not send those in at the same time. They give you one chance to make any and all corrections. And so make sure if there's more things missing or a date missing, or even if a set of initials or anything is missing, you really have one shot to get everything right. And I have played the game too hard and lost that way too before one time, but just make sure it's right once they ask for the repairs. I did. I about cried my way through that one. All right. This is the earnest money requirements. It is $500 if the purchase price is under 50. Under 50,000. The earnest money is $1,000 if the purchase price is 50,001 or more. It has to be in the form of a cashier's check. The inspection period, you must submit a written request and the fee for an inspection period. The inspection period, as long as the plumbing does not show that there's a leak, as long as it says it held pressure on the inspection section that I showed you, they will allow you to turn utilities on typically for 72 hours within your 15-day inspection period. It gets kind of crazy. They literally want you to only have them on for 72 hours, but you have a total of 15 days for inspections. My issue is, as realtors and investors, we usually think inspection period, if the inspection goes bad, I get my earnest money back. They do not like to give earnest money back to investors, period. I have found black mold, I have found water, found broken water lines, like super crazy stuff, and you will not likely see your earnest money regardless. So just be very aware that they don't like to, they call it an inspection period, but it's not an inspection period to get your earnest money back, really. It'll say it is, but I have not been able to get it back ever. So you can activate utilities at your expense. And let's see what else we said about earnest money. HUD contracts are not assignable. This means you cannot put it under contract and assign it to me and me be able to close on it. But there is good news. There is no deed restrictions. This means you can double close. Double close means you're going to use transactional funding or your own funds to close with HUD. Then you will turn around and sell it in a separate transaction. Could be on the same day to the end buyer. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So you can. I thought you couldn't sell them, but then a certain period of time on HUD deals. So something
On
changed.
HUD houses, there's no deed restrictions.
So you could actually buy it in the morning from HUD yourself, then sell it to an end buyer in the afternoon for a higher price.
For 10 minutes later, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no deed restrictions on Secretary of Housing foreclosures. None.
Okay. I thought there was something. Maybe I okay, misunderstood that.
There
I'm
is
glad
on
that-
Fannie Mae and on Freddie properties, but there is not on Secretary of Housing.
not on HUD, but on Fannie Mae and
Yeah.
Freddie Mac.
Freddie, there are, yeah.
Okay. What about VA?
I have never done one of those, to be straightforward, so I don't know.
Okay.
We never had very many of them in my market, and the couple that we did come through, I just happened to never get one, so I don't know. That's a good question.
So how do you do with a Freddie and Fannie? You can't do that with a seasoning period on Freddie and Fannie.
On Freddie and Fannie, you have to go about it differently. Typically, you would get a new LLC, close on the property, and sell the LLC at closing. That's a whole another 2-hour webinar. There are ways around it. I have not done as many of those. These are HUD houses are easier to see. The website's easier to use, and I have bought Fannie houses, but maybe 2 or 3 compared to 100 of these. So I don't know the ins and outs, excuse me, as well as I know this.
Okay, well, I don't want to detain you, but maybe we'll talk about that later. Maybe we find out that because there's a lot of those in the area too. Sometimes Freddie and Fannie.
Yeah, you
I
got a
never
lot
really
of those.
dealt with them much of them, huh?
Yeah, you got a lot of those in your area too.
Yeah, I've looked at. I mean a lot, but I'll see them sometimes. Yeah.
They have a lot of paperwork. Fannie and Freddie at Fannie properties, about 30-page contracts. But I'll dig into that.
So
See if I can figure it out.
If I run into anything, you might be able to help me out to figure it out. Or I mean, to do it.
Yeah.
If I find some, so I
Yeah,
can call you, huh?
Yeah, you'll find more success with HUD houses than you will with Fannie or Freddie properties. But I'm not saying you can't make something work with those. It's just a lot more paperwork, and it's not as easy to figure out what's going on with those, in my opinion. All right.
Okay, well, no problem. I just thought I'd mention it. But we can go to the
Yeah.
next. I don't.
No, it'll be good to keep the eye on those two for sure. All right, so we kind of mentioned this. The same day the bid is accepted by HUD, the listing is removed from the website. That's why I said use the website to track what's available and what's not, rather than the MLS. If the listing is not there, it is not available. People have a hard time with this, but if it's not there, it's not available, period. It's not. If it is there, then it is available, even if the MLS shows differently. So I kind of went through that. What if
Let
you
me
need
ask
to
you something else.
cancel?
Let me ask you something else.
Yeah.
I know with the when they HUD I did so many years ago. I did them recently, but I know it used to, when they first come on market, they're available only for like owner occupants or something like that. So your
Yeah.
investor can't really buy them, right?
Right, when they're in the exclusive period, yeah, it's only when they're in lottery or exclusive, we cannot buy them as investor. It has to say extended period.
So you have to see when you have to put invest in a search, or you wait a certain period of time. How do you know when to get the investor?
You would, let me show you real quick. So let's just see, I wonder if there's any in Florida. And you could hit buyer type right here, investor,
Right.
or, yeah. And when it's this word extended also indicates investor period.
Okay, so extended or investor would mean you could buy it by an investor.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Very cool, very cool. Okay, what did I do with my other slide? Let's see. All right, what if you need to cancel your offer? You can do a written cancellation. It's just a single form. If your earnest money has already been submitted, it will be forfeited. Now, if you decide you want to rebid on the same property later, something changes, you ended up with money you didn't expect, and you want to rebuy that property, you can. So nobody looks at you and says, you already backed out of this last month. Maybe you waited it out till it got another price reduction and now you are interested. So nobody's going to be upset or tell you that you can't just because you canceled, a month ago and now the price dropped and you want it again. So
what period of time would that be? How
ask
much
me again.
time you would have for the keep that deposit? You can rebid on it, but you can't get it. But I'm saying, how long a period of time you can let the deposit stay there on that property until it sells?
You'll lose that deposit. You will lose it when you cancel, but you can rebid. If the price changes, they're not going to keep you from rebidding. But if you can't,
But you got to put another deposit.
Yeah, you'll lose it. You have to put another deposit up.
Okay. So you can't. Okay, you can rebid, but you got to put a new deposit. I got you.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I've done this before. I've got in there, the repairs were too high and I thought it's gonna have to come down another 20,000 for the deal to work. And I had to cancel and just wait it out and rebid it. So it happens. If you lose $1,000 to save 20,000, I guess,
Yeah, I
it's a
guess
win again.
it's probably more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cost
All
of
right.
doing business.
Yeah, exactly. So I just, encourage you to check it out. I know in Arizona, we're a little tight on inventory, but I think that I like it. I used to just check HUD Home Store every night because you could submit offers up until midnight. So I would check it at night after everything was said and done and put in my offers. And I think it's awesome.
So how do you decide to make your offers? What percentage of the offer that you offer to? I know you probably offer it real low, but how
go in there and
how do
make
you
a
go
bunch
about
at 70% and see where they come back, because you've got to find out what the pattern is for your area.
how
You
much?
got to
How
figure
many
out
percent?
what they're.
30, you said?
I would go
You
in
said
and put
30?
it in at about 30% from what they're asking and see what they come
Okay.
back with, just to get the offers out
Okay.
and see where their numbers come in.
Right. Then you can better see how they go. Yeah. So you start off at 30%.
Yep. No, I would come in at 70% of what they're asking. I would. I don't at 30%. They might not take you
70%.
serious.
70%.
Yes, I would.
Which is 30% less. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then I would play around on the site. You can see that the listing broker and the asset manager and field services who make sure the property's locked up and secured and all that. But I would dig around on the site and just get familiar with it. Property condition report. They've got the amenities listed here and just kind of figure it out. We have some time before we see a influx of these type properties, but when they get here, you're going to want to know how to work with the site and get your offers in. So maybe fly under the radar and find some deals other people aren't.
Mhm.
So, and then here, like we said, you can look at the bid results for what other people are buying. There's still a lot of owner occupants. Back when the market was slow, it was like the reverse opposite of this. And almost all investors with just a couple owner occupants. Man, that's a good one. So yeah, I think you'll like it. I definitely think it'll give you something to figure out, and it's kind of fun.
So what kind of distance you do from your office? How far you go out for bidding on these properties? Because their houses are spread out here in Louisiana, they're spread out different counties how far would you?
When I was in Tennessee, I worked every county that touched the county I live in, but I didn't really go more than just that had to touch my county. I didn't hop over 2 counties, but I know people that do. You could do them all over, but
like within maybe an hour or something, maybe?
Yeah, I knew. Yeah. If there's a hot market even a couple miles away, you could still work it, but it's really up to you in that respect. But I personally only about an hour. I was in a smaller market. Now I can't even get to the other side of my city in an hour.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Lot of traffic, huh?
yeah, yeah. So very good. Miss Rita, are you good? Did you know all that about HUD houses?
I had to unmute. No, not all of that. It's been a long time since I've dealt with one,
Me too.
and
I want to get back in there and get ready for it. We don't have
yeah,
very
I
many.
like that, but I learned a whole lot. I know, yeah. I get the list sent to me, and no, there's not many.
We don't was there just 3 total?
In
Yeah,
Pima, you know.
well, that's
Is
3
that-
in the whole state of Arizona.
Oh,
Blech.
Arizona, yeah. But you're
Yeah.
right. Get ready. That's what I've been thinking all this time. Get ready, you know, getting into investments and all that. But I do have on my deal 2 little questions. If
Sure.
or do you want me to do it privately? It's just,
No, you can.
okay.
It's fine.
One is one is tell me why you like a wrap better than a lease purchase. The wrap, because I don't even know the wrap. Okay,
Wrap is
on this
just
situation.
with a wrap, you're literally paying down what's owed on the property, and lease with the option to purchase, you are not, because you're paying rent with the option to buy. A wrap is literally, the terminology literally means we're leaving their loan in place and we're creating another loan with similar terms and wrapping it like you would put a blanket around something. It's just a completely new loan that has similar terms to the original one, but it doesn't disrupt the original loan. Either one is fine. I don't really, and it sounds like you're not even trying to get 30 years on it. You're just trying to get long enough for your buyer or your son to have a little bit of time to boost his credit up. So either way, you know, and
Yeah,
in a
just
year, you're not going to pay down that much anyway. So
yeah. Okay, and the other question is, do you have anyone else in case this what's her name, Maureen doesn't want to work with me? Or maybe it's just the holidays that she hasn't gotten back. Do you have anyone else you'd suggest that?
I don't know anyone else that will close them. Even at Magnus Title, some of them don't understand them enough to want to close them. Actually, I do know somebody. I've got to look up her info. Gosh, because I can't think of it. I have a friend that uses another lady. I'll have to ask and text it to you.
Oh, that would be great, because you know, I'm not giving up on Maureen, but anyway, that and again, thanks for helping
I know
me
she
out.
was super busy. I'm pretty sure she had 6 closings on Friday.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
no, on Thursday,
okay.
because Friday was a holiday. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and thank you so much. You're the best.
Right.
And if there's
You're
someone
welcome.
else you can if you could send me that information anyway, that'd be great.
Okay.
So you're sending information on wraps.
And I'll just have to wrap my head around it.
Yeah. So what's the difference between a wrap and like a land contract, Alice?
I like land contract too, and land contract works for VA also. Land contract is just land contract works as well. I'm gonna make you payments. When I make you the last payment, it can be titled over to me. The wrap itself, you're just can create mere terms of what you're wrapping the original mortgage or the mortgage that's on there. So, and it can be recorded as well. I don't think that either one of, let's see, contract. You said land contract, the property is not changing over into your name. It's not until that last payment's made, and with a wrap, the deed is going to change over.
Oh, I want the deed over.
So, Yeah. That's a good question. You should ask those attorneys, especially with that seller being up in age.
But right, I intend to talk to an attorney. Um, God, my question just flew out of my poor little morning brain. More coffee, please. I'm like, it was a good one.
Yeah, it's a lot for this early.
Oh, I know what it was. Okay, in my investor group that I'm learning about everything or
Uh-huh.
some things. Now they always say, don't talk to the loan company, and this is just about sub twos. Is this a different situation where you do talk to the loan company?
We do not. We let NREIG talk to them and get the insurance changed over, and we don't. We typically have the seller give us their online banking for the account so we can monitor that. Most of them do with no problem. And NREIG, who we use for insurance, typically does the insurance portion and gets that swapped over into our name.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I know that I was told to make sure and have it in both names. You have to have his and the new.
The
person.
insurance should be in the name of the person that's on title.
Oh,
So-
okay.
So it depends on how you're doing it. If you're doing the lease with the option to buy and the title staying in the seller's name, then that insurance needs to stay in the seller's name, is my understanding. I'm not an attorney, but that is my understanding.
Right, and would that put up some red flag there with them when the insurance company puts in the new insurance?
That's why NREIG does it all. They're used to it. That's what they do. That's what they specialize in.
Yeah.
And
I wrote that down.
they literally handle it.
I
So,
wrote that name down for the insurance.
yeah.
Okay, so you guys, okay, good, because it was starting to feel like you are having communications with the loan company, and I'm like, no, you're not supposed to. Like, but
No.
anyway, and I know you've gone way over and really, really appreciate you a lot.
All right. Well, I'm excited. I
looking
did
for
get
them?
them to move this to once a month. That way I can put together a presentation and make sure it's good and valuable. And so I know next month we're supposed to be on, but she's also got the REI con going on. So I think it's the same day. I don't think it's going to happen next month. We may have to move the date a little bit, but I had her move it from every Saturday to once a month, just so I could make sure I prepared something that was able to be presented and valuable to you. So,
Very valuable, and thank you.
all right, guys.
So it's NIREG is the insurance. Oh, okay. I see you just put it up on the screen.
Yep.
NREIG.
Yep. National Real
Okay.
Estate Insurance Group.
Okay. Okay. And so they so you contact them and they all do the insurance. Now you say you take
Yep.
the insurance out of the well, we just keep it in their name, right?
Yeah.
So,
If the deed is in their name, yes.
okay. Okay.
Yeah. The insurance should match the person on the deed, is my understanding. So,
Right. And
I've asked
then
a question of probably 8 attorneys over and over, because it seems to be a sticking point, and one that you'll get 100 different answers if you ask 100 different investors. So
Okay.
it can be confusing. I know everybody's got their way, but this company knows what they're doing. And I didn't know they had it for vacation rental. I like them. So it made our life simpler when we went to them.
Okay, now how the payments are made, when the payments are made by the new owner, a new purchaser, right?
Mhm.
And
On the
so
insurance?
they make the checks out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean for the payments as well, the whole payment.
Yes. Yes, I would recommend getting an LLC, and I like to put the word management in it. We did, because it looks like you're managing somebody's property. So we formed an LLC. It is 3 management. is the name of it. And you don't get as many questions as you would if it was now Alice Adams is making payments. It looks more professional and like it's a property management company or something taking care of it. You don't get as many questions.
Oh,
Yeah.
and on this LLC, is it just a public one, like Arizona one in Arizona, as opposed to like, the hidden ones? And
We have ours that is not, ours is, we do have ours structured where it goes through another entity, but yeah, it is. It doesn't have to be. We just chose to because we've got fix and flips and rental properties and another LLC, and they're all feeding back to a primary, but I don't think it's necessary when you're just getting started necessarily. I never worried about it 10 years ago at all.
yeah,
So
yeah, I just
Yeah.
worry
Yeah,
about
speaking
my
about
name.
that, I've heard that too. Like for them, say if you got different type of properties, you might want one for a management company, then several small ones for different other options on the
yes,
bottom. I mean, how
yeah.
that if you got rental property, or flip and hold, and how you got your stuff? Do you have anything?
Yeah, we just have one. We've got a primary one, and then we've separated out the rental properties from the fix and flips. Mhm.
Do you have something that is for a structure like that? Because I'm thinking about doing that. I got a couple of rentals, and I'm going to do some flipping. Is there something? Can you have a diagram? You can send out to me and see how it looks. I can get an idea how you do
Yeah,
that. Separate
I
the measurement
don't
to the.
know that I have one, but I'm sure I can find one. But I don't. I'll have to look
Yeah,
later
but I mean,
today.
it's no big hurry. But I mean, because I'm thinking about doing that because I talked to a CPA about it, and I was trying to see if I could set up something like for management, one for management company, but one for like flipping holes. He said one company I think could be on top, a management company like you saying, and that you won't have all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, because if something happens, you don't want to. You want it to be contained.
Mm-hmm. So if you have something you send, so basically, you were saying like a wrap and a land contract, two different things. You have anything on land contracts and wraps too, like that? Maybe information.
I sent you the information I had on wraps. I don't have a land contract one that I love.
Okay.
So we use the title company usually helps do the paperwork, and we just write it up in the special stipulations on the purchase agreement, but it's not my favorite way to do it either.
The land contract, it's kind of, some people say it different ways. They say with the land contract, I know here in Louisiana, I think they got, if you do that, it doesn't probably doesn't transfer, and it's almost like a rental because at 45 days, if they don't pay, you can kick them out or something. They start all over again. Whereas with the, I guess with a wrap, I guess it's like the deed transfer, you got to foreclose on like a regular house.
Right.
Right.
That's right. That's exactly
So
right.
So it all depends how you want to look at it, I guess. I don't.
Yeah, that's right.
I have another quick question. It's your fault. Okay, so you said form an LLC that has the word management in it, but that doesn't have to be the purchaser, just who's making the payments, right? Or does it need to be on the purchase contract?
The person on the deed needs to be the person that the insurance name is in. So I guess it needs to match. The insurance companies I talked to said it could cause a problem if the insurance is not under the same name as the person that's on the deed. So I've tried to, the insurance companies told me that. So I have tried to make sure we do that.
Yeah. Okay. So, but insurance aside, okay, so the insurance would put it under the management company as who's.
Yes, because it's going to be
and
the
so
buyer.
That would be better to write the contract under the management company that's formed with an LLC, not the person staying buying.
Yeah, you're in a little different situation since your son is wanting to live in that property, unless you're going to buy it and rent it to him, rent to own. But I guess there's some different ways to structure that.
I was just gonna do it all in his, you
All in
know,
his name.
yeah. And I guess I'm a little still, I'm a little gitsy about this still as a real estate agent and my company. You know, I'm kind of gitsy about doing anything that might hurt my standing with my company still.
Yeah.
And I keep being told it's none of their business what you do with your other businesses. But you know, but they pretty well say it is. And
Yeah.
I'm like, ah. So I'm gitsy about my name right now, but I just did tell him either you can buy it. If you don't, I'm going to, because I really want to do something for him.
Yeah.
And he has a
Wow.
lot, but he has better credit. My credit sucks.
Okay, so it's got pretty good. He's got for 630. He should be able to buy it in his own name if he wanted to. 630 is all right. It'll work in today's market.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
guys, I'm gonna go get some coffee
Me too.
to start my day. I hope you have
Okay.
a good day.
Bye, you guys.
Thanks a
you
lot.
so
You find
much.
that information on that structure on the LLC management. Send them to. I appreciate
Okay.
it.
I put myself a
All
note
right,
here. I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah, send me
Okay.
anything too.
All right.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
Sure will.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye, bye, Ron.
Bye bye.
Bye.